What's going on, cash flow hackers? It's Chris with Life 180, and I am here with Devin Burr, Mr. Burr from TikTok. So we are here in Indianapolis at a symposium for a life insurance company. We had never met each other.
No.
We live right down the road from each other.
It's crazy to me now.
Which is nuts, right?
Yeah.
Totally nuts. And so, literally live about a half hour away from each other. We met here, instant friendship, awesome stuff. And I thought it would be really cool to come on here because Devin's only been in the industry for a couple years, what, two years? 2 years? 2 years. But he's just killing it in so many ways, so much success, so passionate for the industry. And so I thought it would be really, really cool to come on here, interview Devin, introduce you guys to him. If you're not on TikTok, I mean, let's face it, if you're on TikTok, you already know who this guy is. But if you're on YouTube and you don't really spend much time in TikTok, which I know a lot of people are there, you know, he has a YouTube channel. I'll put the link in the description below. But just wanted to share a story because how many followers are you up to on TikTok right now?
785,000 right there.
That's not a small deal.
It's crazy.
Like, that's nuts. So I got 6,000 followers on TikTok, right? Like, this dude's got 785,000.
Just flexing a little bit on you, you know?
So it's nuts. Like, he's had massive success and he's doing really amazing things. So Devin, let's just kind of get into it. Like, share your story a little bit if you can. Like, a little bit about your background. What brought you into this? Like, what got you to see the power of life insurance? And like, what inspired you to kind of go down this path?
Yeah, well, first off, thank you, dude. Like,
all
the kind words. Like, it's kind of surreal to me when I stop and like think about where I'm at in life. It really is.
Totally.
Like, you saw me on stage a couple days ago telling my story, and it's like a couple years ago, I was in a completely different spot, right?
Yeah.
I had a 9-to-5, just grinding and grinding. I had started to become a successful employee.
Yeah.
I just felt broke still. I felt check to check, even though I had some money in the bank.
Yep.
I was maxing out my 401ks, and I'm like, there just has to be more. There's got to be more, you know?
Yeah.
And I quit my job October of 2019, started doing real estate full time.
Okay.
And I started to do pretty well after a couple months.
Okay.
So from January till March, I did 8 real estate deals, 0 marketing.
Nice.
I was just going to local meetups and just, we were talking about this right before the camera started.
Yeah.
I think my superpower is I'm a social butterfly.
Yeah.
And in high school, that was what the teachers would say, you got to stop that. You're not going to be successful if you're always
what got you in trouble led to your success.
Yeah. I was the class clown that just wanted to be friends with everyone and just talk to people and learn from people.
Yeah,
and that is what's made me successful in business is I would go to different meetups and I would just talk to people, like pick their brains, which is a really weird saying, by the way.
You were just mentioning that at lunch.
Like it's so weird. I want to I want to learn from them, not pick their brains. So weird. And I just started learning from these successful people, and success leaves clues.
Yeah, totally.
It does. So as long as you do what other successful people do, you're gonna be successful.
Yeah.
And I was doing well, and the pandemic hit. Meetups went away.
Got it.
So I'm sitting at home like, how do I get better? And what a lot of people need to realize is there's free platforms for everything. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram.
Yeah.
You can learn from anybody. So I started like researching Tony Robbins, Ed Milet. I started just trying to think how they think and learn what they learn. And I came across a podcast with my mentor, Chris Noggle.
Yep.
He's talking about becoming the bank.
Yep.
And I was like, that makes a lot of sense.
Seems too good to be true, though, in a way, right?
It seems too good to be true. So I got my first policy, and it was a small policy because I wanted to see if it was true.
Yeah. Oh, well, hold on, pause there, because I heard a story yesterday on this where it was going to be a big policy.
Yes.
And then you kind of like scaled it back. Talk about that for 1 second.
So I had all of my capital. I was learning about this concept of infinite banking, and I was immersed in it. I'm like reading books. Yeah. Read Caleb's book. Shout out to Caleb Williams. He's the homie. Great dude. Yep. Read his book. Read Nelson Nash's book, Becoming Your Own Banker. Yep. I'm watching you on YouTube, which this is surreal. Again, I learned from you, and now we're here. It's crazy. But I was learning all this. I'm like, this is amazing. I'm gonna put all my capital in these policies. So I had about 300 grand. I'm gonna put all this money here. And then I heard everyone telling me, that's a scam. That's
Careful.
not how life insurance works. You're gonna put the money there and you're not gonna have cash value for 10 years.
Yep.
I'm like,
yeah.
So I scaled it back. I did a small policy, put the money in. Immediately within like 2 days, I got 90% of it back out.
Nice.
And I was like, it's real, let's go.
It's real,
Boom.
let's go, bang. And you did a
two
second
more.
policy like right away.
Second and the third one 2 months after.
Okay, cool.
I just started using it for real estate. I wasn't an agent. I wasn't in the business.
Yeah.
I was just using this tool to multiply everything I was doing in real estate.
Yeah.
That's all I was doing.
Yeah.
And it was
awesome.
incredible. So I'm telling everybody.
Nothing else.
Friends, family,
Totally.
neighbors.
Ignorance on fire in a way. You're like, this works. I
Yeah.
don't know how, but you should do it too.
I didn't really know
Like,
much. They would
sure.
ask a question. I'm like, I don't know, but it works really well.
That's awesome.
Like, so I was telling everyone about it, and then the more I started getting knowledge about it, I was able to explain it to people better.
Sure.
And someone told me, they're like, you should get on TikTok and put these videos out.
Awesome.
I'm just thinking TikTok was my daughter doing,
You're a good dancer though. Like, see, like.
not a TikTok dancer.
I mean, no, but
You know?
yeah. You
But-
could probably do it.
So yeah, I got on TikTok and just, it blew up really quick.
Yeah.
And then I just started realizing everyone was asking me, I want to do it. How do I get a policy? So I'm like, maybe I should write the policies. So yeah, fast forward to today, I've written 848 policies since March of last year. It's been crazy.
That's insane. Like, most people can't even, if most people write that in their career, they're happy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's a big number.
It's been nuts.
So, okay, so let's fast forward. You are where you are now. You went from like starting up, basically ignorance on fire, not really knowing much, right?
I love that. Ignorance on fire.
Right?
That's good.
Yeah. It's an old network marketing term.
I like it.
But like, so you're ignorance on fire and you're learning. You've surrounded yourself with amazing people, right? You got Chris Noggle and you're watching the right content, going to the right masterminds and groups. I know you went to Caleb's event, right? Like, I don't know, a month or whatever ago. And so at this point in time, like, I guess let's go back a little bit. What is it about this that is the difference maker? You know what I mean? Like for you and for everybody else, like what was it about it that held you back, and what is it about it? Because I think your story is really unique in the sense that everybody has that kind of they get ramped up, they get hyped up. They're like, oh, this seems awesome. If I had a nickel for every time I talk to somebody, and then they're like, oh, I talked to my CPA, or oh, I talked to my accountant, or oh, I talked to my, my dad or my mom or my husband or wife or whatever. But you went at it a different angle. You kind of had that conversation with people, and you went in, and then you hit the pause button, and you kind of just scaled it down just to see it, and then you move forward. So knowing what you know now, what would you tell people that are kind of like looking at it, trying like, is this right for me? Who is this right for? Who is it not, in your opinion? That's a loaded.
Such a good question.
It's a loaded one.
I honestly think it's right for anybody.
Okay.
Anybody.
Okay.
It just takes two things. Discipline.
Yep.
And time.
Okay.
If you think you're gonna get rich quick by doing infinite banking, you're dead wrong.
Yeah.
You're not. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But if you're just disciplined with the concept of how it works, and you give it time, compound interest takes time. The longer you give it, the bigger it gets.
Yeah.
So if I could go back and talk to my 18-year-old self, what's the one thing I would ask or tell myself?
Yeah.
Start whole life insurance policies with a mutually owned company.
Yep.
Built for infinite banking, and do it now.
Totally.
As much as you can.
Start.
Put as much as you can in there.
Yep.
Because by the time you're my age, young man, you'll be buying everything. You'll buy houses, you'll buy cars, you'll buy all your investments.
Yeah.
You'll never have to borrow money from a bank. You borrow from yourself and pay yourself what you would have paid the bank.
Yep. There are two phrases that I use probably more than any other when I talk to people. It's like, when's the best time to plant a tree? 30 years ago. When's the next best time? Today, right? And so like, you wish you had done it back then, but if you hadn't, start now, right? Like, that's first. And then the second one is a little more technical. It's the greatest myth, and I'm really passionate about this, and I think it's so important if you understand this, and when you start to wrap your head around this, infinite banking, utilizing whole life insurance as a foundational asset in your life really starts to make sense. And that is, the greatest myth in the financial industry is the younger you are, the more risk you can take. Right? Now, when we're 25, I mean, there's an element, there's a ringing of truth in that, because like, hey, we can lose our money and we have time to make up for it. So that's where the, I don't know, the idea of that phrase comes from is we can lose it, we have time to make it back. Whereas if we're 60 and we lose all our money, we're kind of screwed, right? So there's truth to it, but if you understand compounding, and if you understand the power of just being consistent and leverage and like putting into the system, you realize the younger you are, the less risk you have to take. Right? And when you do take risks, make sure you take risk in things that you understand, that you control, educate yourself. And like the first investment, this is the thing, like I love one-liners, so it's like you need to slow down to go fast, right?
So true.
And that is infinite banking. That is utilizing whole life insurance. You save, you build up your financial foundation, and then what happens, that enables you to move faster. But you save with the intent to invest, right? But then when you invest, my biggest belief is your first big investment shouldn't be in real estate. It shouldn't be in stocks or Bitcoin or anything like that. It should be in you, right? It should be in you, and going to masterminds, going to events, surrounding yourself with people like this guy, and Dom, who's sitting behind the camera now. He just got down from his hotel room. But like, it's that kind of stuff that people, like, I feel like that's something that people miss the ball on. Now, I've heard you talk a lot in the past couple days about self-development, about personal growth, about your story of what was holding you back, and then when things kind of pivoted for you, it was really when you committed to self-growth, right? Really when you committed to that. So talk about that for a second.
This is hard to talk about. This gets me emotional every time I talk about it. So I get a lot now. People think I was born with a silver spoon, you know, because they thank you. Like they see the success I've had, and like they don't see all the struggles. Like I tell people, like social media, it's a highlight reel. You're seeing everyone's best of the best. You don't see everything that goes behind what they went through. So for me, I grew up very broke, really broke family. One of 7 siblings, hand-me-downs. We can't afford that. Money doesn't grow on trees. So from a young age, I was drilled in that money was scarce, you know? And I went to college to get a degree. And my first job while in college was working as a loan officer. And I made a $10,000 check. And I'm like,
felt like you were rich.
Like, I don't need to go to college. Dropped out of college. But when you don't have a foundation of money, when you get it, you can't keep it. You don't know what to do with it. So I was partying, I was blowing money, right? Stumbled through my 20s. I had 50, 60 jobs.
Oh my gosh.
31 years old, I was a single father to my daughter. I won a custody battle a couple of years prior. And I was on this downward spiral. I shielded my daughter from everything. I didn't want her to see everything I was going through. It was hard. I was bankrupt. I had $300 to my name, period. I had to move out of the apartment we lived in. I was almost on the streets. Moved in with a friend, sold all my stuff. I just had a few shirts, a few pants, a pair of shoes. I sold my bed. I just had a mattress. So I'm at my buddy's house one day that I was living. I was renting a room from him. Me and my daughter shared the room. And I had just got my heart broken by the woman I was madly in love with. Like madly in love with. I thought I was gonna marry her.
Thought forever.
And I just kept, I felt like I was on this downward spiral, and I felt like I was about to take my daughter with me. I broke down. I just started bawling my eyes out. First time I broke down in front of her, she finally saw everything that I was going through. And I couldn't hold back the tears. I was ugly face crying.
That's hard, man.
Ugly face crying.
That's hard, man. That's hard.
And she's like, Daddy, what's wrong? I'm like, am I a good dad? And she like, I'll never forget this. I had my head down. I'm sitting on this mattress, right? My feet are up. My feet are on the
knees
ground.
above your head.
Yeah,
sitting on the floor.
My arms are on my knees. She's standing up, and my head's down.
How old is she?
She's 9 years old.
9.
My 9-year-old daughter lifts my chin up. She says, "You're the best."
Yeah.
I get emotional thinking about it every time, man.
I hear it.
She said you're the best dad.
Yep.
You know, and from then on I understood like everything that was happening to me was my fault.
Yeah.
It was 100% on me. No one was coming to save me.
Right.
But in reality, my daughter saved me.
Yeah.
That little gesture, you're the best dad.
Yep.
It made me realize like she doesn't know. I'm gonna be the best daddy. I need to work on me to be that.
Yep.
So I just dove into self-development.
All in.
And as soon as I did, everything started getting better.
And it was pretty quick.
Within a month.
That's insane.
I started reading books, watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts.
Love it.
This was October 22nd was the day I got my heart broken by my ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
I think I broke down October 25th to my daughter. The end of November, November 27th, me and my wife go on our first date. My now wife.
That's amazing.
Within 1 month, everything started to change.
Everything opened up.
And it was because I looked in the mirror and said, dude, when are you going to stop like running from your life and like grab your potential?
Yep.
You have so much potential.
Yeah.
And you're squandering it away.
Yeah.
You know, and that's when it all started changing.
Love it, man. So
I apologize. I had you teary
no,
first.
dude. Yeah, no. You know why? Because I have a 10-year-old daughter.
So you can relate to
like,
that.
and so I've had some tough conversations, right? Like I got a 10-year-old daughter, 8-year-old son, and a 4-year-old daughter. So like, I'm in the middle of it too. And you know, you have these conversations, and I don't care how much success you have, like as a dad, like until you have kids, you have no idea. Like your whole world revolves around those kids, and no matter how good the rest of the world thinks you are, you're always like on yourself about being the best dad, giving them the most, like helping make their life better, giving them the right opportunities, and like that's all that matters, right? Like nothing else. Everything we do, if you're anything like me, is for them, right? And so yeah, I mean it hit me.
Thank you.
So your younger self though, like so you made this pivot. Like, and it was like, okay, you finally started investing in yourself and really focusing on development, trying to be a better dad, which then had a trickle-down effect into all these other areas of life, right? Which is amazing. And you learned some things, right? Like you found out about this infinite banking stuff. You found out about utilizing whole life insurance.
Yep.
Let's talk about infinite banking, right? So you're really big into infinite banking. Your TikTok channel, you talk about a lot of this stuff constantly. Like, I mean, that's the primary foundation
that
of your
real
channel.
estate.
That real estate, right? And I wrote a book, Cash Flow Hacking. It's all about infinite banking and whole life insurance and real estate, infinite banking and real estate, right? We speak the same language. But infinite banking as a whole, I think, is highly misunderstood, right? So let's talk about that for a second, because infinite banking, a lot of people think you can infinite bank with IUL. They think you can infinite bank, like they think in their mind infinite banking is simply a product. And what I've really come to the realization of recently, based on creating a lot of content, getting a lot of feedback, is people think infinite banking is the function of having your money in an account and being able to borrow against it or leverage that money and paying less and just having arbitrage, right? And they break it down to that, like that simplistic of a component to it. Now, is that part of it?
Yep.
Absolutely, sure. I mean, that is a part of it. But I think if you're looking at infinite banking as just that simple part, that's where people get into the IUL conversation and think IUL can be the solution. And if it were that simple, A, it still wouldn't work, but B, it's not that simple, right? And so can you talk to me, like, what is infinite banking to you?
Infinite banking is really just taking back the banking function in your life.
Okay.
You're going to spend money one of two ways.
Yep.
You're going to spend cash, or you're going to finance something.
Yep.
So if you take cash and buy it, all that money's ability to earn money for the rest of your life is out the window. It'll never earn you money. If you finance it, you're borrowing from someone else, you got to pay them interest. So that money is, again, leaving you forever. So in my opinion, infinite banking is literally just taking back that function so that you are the bank Now nothing ever leaves your family ever. If you pay cash, guess what? You're taking it from a policy.
Yep.
That cash is continuing to grow, uninterrupted, compound interest for the rest of your life.
Yep.
Tax-free.
Yep.
You go finance something like I'm buying a car right now. I bought 2 of my policy. I'm about to buy a 3rd.
Yep.
I'm buying it for my policy, but I did the research. Like, what is the payment going to be on this? What's the term?
Yep.
What's the interest?
Yep.
I saw what I got qualified for.
Yep.
I was like, all right, cool. That's what I'm gonna pay my bank.
Yep.
So I borrowed $200,000 from my policy to buy this Audi R8. I buy the
flex.
I buy the car. I buy the car, right?
Yeah.
So now I own the car.
Yeah.
It's mine.
You
There's
only
no
have 1 kid, right?
1 kid.
That's how he has an Audi R8. You get 3 kids, no Audi R8 for you.
I've got the Audi SUV too. So
Okay, good for you.
once I bought this Audi SUV, I'm like, I love Audis. I need an Audi R8.
All right, fair enough.
But I buy the car cash, $200,000. If I would have financed it,
Yeah.
$200,000 would come from the bank. Now I got to pay them interest to repay that loan.
Okay.
Same thing's happening. I'm borrowing from my policy. I'm paying myself interest to pay back this $200,000 loan, but my $200,000 is not being used. It's just continuing to compound and grow.
Yep.
So over a 5-year period of me just buying the car,
Yep.
like I normally would if I would have financed it,
Yep.
I make $70,000 by purchasing it.
So, okay,
That blows my mind. What's possible?
go deeper in that for me. When you say you make 70,000, how?
Great question. So over 5 years, I have premiums that I put into the policy.
Correct.
You add that up, and then I put repayments paying back the $200,000 loan.
Above and beyond your premium
Yeah.
that you're paying anyway.
So I'm repaying a policy loan.
Okay, so it's instead of paying the bank what you would pay for the terms of the car payment, the auto payment, you're paying back the policy loan.
Right. So I'm injecting money in the policy
Okay.
in form of premium and
Yep.
loan repayments.
Yep.
That together, minus the 200 I took out, is my net injection in 5 years.
Okay.
That amount, the cash value from when I started to when I end in 5 years is 70 grand higher than the net amount I inject.
And so it's because of the fact that you didn't ever interrupt the compounding of that money, right? And so you said one thing, and I don't want to like pick on you here, but I'm a real stickler for words. So you said I'm going to borrow from my policy.
Against my
You're
policy.
borrowing against your policy, just for everybody to understand that, right? So you're never pulling money from your policy. You're borrowing against your policy. You're leveraging your policy as collateral to get a third-party loan, whether that's from the insurance company on a guaranteed basis or whether you use a third-party line of credit. I don't know how you feel about that. I love that.
I love it.
Personally. So utilizing a third-party line of credit when it makes sense, if you have your policy up to the right size to be able to do so, which if you're buying an Audi R8, you do.
Yeah.
So like if whatever that is, that's it. So when you're borrowing against it, you're never taking money out of your policy, so that money's constantly growing. Are you going to have an interest expense? Absolutely.
Yep.
There's always a cost to that
baked
money.
into there.
And that's baked in. When you're saying you've earned 70 grand, you're saying after all your expenses, the cost of paying back the car, the interest expense, all that,
And the premium. Minus the 200 that I used to buy the car.
Okay, so
that's the net injection.
So at the end of the 5-year term, is
Yep.
that what you did? At the end of the 5-year term, your account has $70,000 more in it than you would have.
Than what I injected.
Okay, that's amazing. That's amazing. And so that's just the growth. And so this is all, and here's the deal, like I'm a big believer, you're not gonna get rich buying depreciating assets, right? Like, so you can't just do this, going out and buying Audi R8s thinking you're gonna get to retirement and all this is gonna be good.
Yeah.
You're going and doing real estate, you're doing cars. The principle here that I think is really important to understand is that Devin here likes cars, obviously.
A lot.
Right? A lot. He's got a Corvette that's pretty sick.
I sold it.
You did?
That's why I'm buying the R8.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I was like, damn, dude. All right, so
Got a lift in my garage.
I know, right?
Like,
Seriously, I'm like, wow. So he's got this Audi R8 that he's getting now. So he's really into cars. To Devin, he's gonna buy this car anyway, right? So he's not getting rich buying cars. He's simply improving his financial efficiency in his life to the tune of an extra 70 grand because of the way he purchased his car.
And
fair enough?
Yes, and there's I didn't give all the details because I wanted to stay surface level.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Like
I'm not very good at surface level.
The infinite banking concept is only as powerful as the owner of the policy.
Totally. Amen.
Like, I got this analogy from Caleb.
Yeah.
If you're learning how to golf, you've never swung a club, and you go buy the most expensive clubs, thinking you're going to be a good golfer, you're out of your mind.
Right.
You're better off having a really good swing with crappy clubs, then get the good clubs. So like a policy is the best clubs you can get, but if you can't swing it, it's not worth anything. It's a glorified savings account.
Totally.
So the way I use policies is the reason I've done so well, because I use them.
You leverage the crap out of them.
And I get really creative. So here's what I left out on the card deal.
All right, cool.
So
details matter. I mean, with this stuff.
So I've got private money that I'm lending right now.
Okay.
So cool. 300 grand I borrow against my policy.
Okay.
So 300 grand I get into my personal bank account.
Okay.
That 300 grand is still compounding in my policy.
Yeah.
Tax free. Because
Totally.
I'm not borrowing it. I'm
You're
borrowing against it.
Correct.
So 300 grand, I now lend it to my LLC.
Got it.
So I create a promissory note between Devin, Burr, and Onyx Investment Group for 15% interest only.
Okay.
So that payment comes back to me that goes back into the policy, building up my cash value, 15% coming off my taxable income, right? Now I take the 300, lend it on a private money deal at 12%, which makes me $3,000 a month, which pays my Audi R8 payment back to my policy.
Okay.
So I get the private money working for me to buy the car.
So it's a much more sophisticated component. It's not as simple as just doing the loan, paying it back, and whatever.
But the 70 grand, that's not including me lending the money. That's just if I bought the car.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's awesome. So what would you say to people that are just, all right, this sounds too good to be true. You know, you know, the haters out there. I love Chris Noggle. He has this shirt, haters need hugs too, right? Like, and like, I feel like it's really relevant, especially the way he talks about stuff. So, you know, he's very provocative, right? So
he's a New Yorker.
Yeah, totally. So what would you say to people that are kind of on the fence, that are, you know, questioning, should I do this? Should I, you know, like?
I would say I was there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
May of 2020, when I got my first policy, I was doing pretty well in life. I was on pace to make around 200 grand, just doing real estate. 200 grand, I had a net worth of about 300 grand.
Okay.
As we sit here today, I'll make just under $1 million, net worth of 4.5 million.
That's awesome.
Most of that is just because of how I use policies.
Yep.
How I leverage them and how I go do more real estate, because I'm not using all of my money, I'm using borrowed money. The power of real estate is OPM, other people's money. And when you realize that infinite banking is another form of that, you're borrowing the insurance company's money and just using yours as collateral, you can now use another form of leverage to go do more deals with less money.
Love it.
That's all I've done is I've leveraged the hell out of them to go buy houses, build my net worth, build my cash flow. So I was there. I was skeptical. I started a small $6,000 policy. And once I saw it was real, like, put me in, coach. Put me in.
That's awesome.
You know?
That's amazing. Well, dude, it's been awesome having you here.
Dude, it's been awesome
getting to know you a little bit.
I can't believe this is happening. Like, when I learned about infinite banking, I was watching your YouTube videos.
Awesome,
you and Caleb.
That's amazing.
I was watching you guys just in awe. I was like, I need to learn this.
Well, now you're killing
And now we're sitting here having this.
I love it, and you're a good dude.
I gotta pinch myself.
You're a good dude.
Am I dreaming right now?
I love it. I always say I just want to do business with people that I like and enjoy, and I've had just a blast hanging out with you this week, and look forward to just connecting more. And so, guys, if you have any questions at all, leave them in the comment section below. I'm gonna tag Devin in here. You guys gotta go follow his YouTube channel. He's like kind of a big deal on TikTok. He's working
Not so much on YouTube.
Not so much on YouTube. So we're gonna try to boost him up a little bit. So if you have any questions at all, comment in the comment section below. I'll do my best to engage. I'll send him the link so he'll check it out as well. But if you haven't already, subscribe here, hit the bell, that way you're notified every time I launch a new video. Go follow him. He'll hit you up. He's got all. I'm gonna be getting this guy to do a lot more content on YouTube.
Let's go.
Since he only lives right down the street from me. So have a blessed, inspirational day, guys, and we'll talk to you on the next video. See ya.